ain't heard me since I stepped on campus. Cause I know what you about. You know shit about me. These is Sean John. So I gotta get my swang on. Yo, we had two twins on some unicycles, some hot wings, and in a box.
What is that noise?
Oh, damn, it's 12 already. Hey,
I'ma do it like this, do it like that. Wyclef's on here, but I'm going it back. Cause y'all see me on the show, man. Sometimes I wish I could say the stuff that I really want to say, that I be really thinking. Cause y'all see my face on America's Got Talent. I mean...
We found out that he had another condition. And ultimately, if anybody knows how cancers work, it was cancer in the brain. Happened the last... Oh. I have lupus, but lupus doesn't have me. So I'm one of those people that want to wave the flag and say, hey, you can win this fight.
Nick Cannon's name stays in rotation. And let's be real, it's rarely for something boring. Whether it's the jaw-dropping remarks that got him booted from Viacom CBS.
The actor, rapper, and television host fired by Viacom overnight following racial and anti-Semitic comments he made on his podcast.
Or the fact that he's juggling 12 kids with 6 different women like it's a talent show.
I'm having these kids on purpose.
Okay, so if you having them on purpose, then what I'm saying.
Accident.
Nick knows how to keep us talking. But what's the real story behind the man who's done it all? Actor.
I didn't hear no dinner bell.
what? Dinner bell? What's he talking about?
Comedian.
They organize. They know how to have meetings. Black folks, we show up late to everything. We get a little bit of money. What we do, we let our cousins be our accountants.
Producer, musician.
She was a tall, slim model chick I met last week at the mall. Cute feet with the baby fat police. Yo, shit.
And still somehow finds time to stir up drama at every turn. Buckle up, because Nick Cannon's life is one big messy headline, and we're diving into all the chaos. Nick Cannon, born Nicholas Scott Cannon on October 8, 1980, in sunny San Diego, California, didn't exactly have the cookie-cutter childhood. With a televangelist dad, James Cannon, and an accountant mom, Beth Hackett, his home life was as mismatched as it sounds. To make things even more complicated, his parents split when he was young, and Nick spent his early years struggling back and forth between California and North Carolina.
I started right here in North Carolina doing stand-up comedy in Charlotte. I was out here just being the son of a preacher man.
But little Nick wasn't about to let family drama hold him back. At just 8 years old, his granddad handed him a bunch of musical instruments, and that's when the performance bug bit hard. Drums, piano, you name it.
I don't get it fucked up. He's a real musician for real.
He was ready to be a one-kid band. But Nick wasn't going to stop at music.
It won't be today. No, I'm not trying to be your man. Pit bones in my body. Rock them body, how they...
Oh, no. He wanted all the spotlight. He switched gears to stand-up comedy and started cracking jokes.
People just don't believe me, but I can't really blame you, because that's like if somebody came up to me and be like, hey, man, you heard Pamela Anderson is married to Justin Bieber?
On his dad's public access TV show.
My dad, with me, the way he felt like he kept me out of trouble is through the media. So whether through public access television, which he had his ministry show on, through writing, as well as journalism at the time. There was no internet at the time, but really going out and doing community journalism, reporting on things that are happening in the community with the police and this. He had me doing this type of stuff before I was a teenager. Through my foundation, he's kind of been keeping that work going, and he's doing things with podcasts as well as radio shows, and specifically what I was talking about with this book division, where we allowing people to write books, people from the hood, you know what I mean? They really have something to say. So it's not just about me saying, hey, I'm gonna write this motivational book. I'm giving the opportunity to the community to share their narrative.
A star was already in the making, even if he didn't know it yet. At 16, Nick Cannon was moving like a man on a mission, because he was. The kid wasn't just dabbling in hobbies. He was out here doing everything. Writing music, done.
Girls always say, Nick, you're so cute. How you flipping, rapping, and acting too?
Producing scripts, absolutely. Cracking jokes on stage at comedy clubs, yep.
Why is it that people with bad breath always got so much to say?
Oh, and let's not forget the pop-up on Soul Train with dance moves sharp enough to slice through the competition.
His name is Mr. Nick Cannon. I'm a player with mine, right?
happened was I was hollering at this chick in front of the 99.
Nick was making sure everybody in the room knew his name, whether they wanted to or not.
A kid, 16 years old, I was writing, producing music, writing scripts. I was just trying to get on. I was dancing on Soul Train or wherever I could get to it in my teenage years.
Waiting around for an opportunity? Not this guy. He was kicking doors down before they even thought about opening. The real game changer came when he hit the stage at Jamie Foxx Laugh-A-Palooza.
Dude, I'm not a gangster. I smile for a living. Dude, America's Got Talent.
Now, this wasn't just some open mic night. This was where stars were born. Nick hit that stage with enough energy to light up a city and jokes that had the crowd in tears. Will Smith's team happened to be watching, and let's just say Nick made them notice.
And I was doing stand-up, and Will Smith's team, when they first started Overbrook, saw me at Jamie Foxx's, who also, even before I got with Will Smith, Jamie had a festival in Atlanta called Laugh-A-Palooza, and that's where Will's people saw me do stand-up. I rocked it that night, and they were like, yo, we're gonna introduce you to Will back at the office in LA. Will came in and was like, yo, you remind me of me. Like, I had my script right there. We should do this show. And he signed me on the spot, to the TV, music, play, and, he's been an inspiration and a big brother since that day.
From there, it was a straight shot to Nickelodeon. Nick started as the warm-up guy for all that.
Don't do it, man. Be a bigger friend than I was. Ulysses, I'll take that bike.
But it didn't take long for him to climb the ladder. By the time he was 17, he wasn't just writing sketches. He was the youngest staff writer in TV history. Let that sink in. The youngest. And he wasn't stopping there. Pretty soon, he had his own show, The Nick Cannon Show.
Nick Cannon, taking the world and mixing it up.
Isn't this fun? Let it rip. You don't get an allowance?
Where he wasn't just a star, he was also directing and producing. Nickelodeon basically handed him keys to the kingdom. But Nick was always thinking bigger. In 2005, he flipped the script again and dropped Wildin' Out.
Welcome back to Wildin' Out, y'all! It's real thick in here. And right now, it's time for the bonus round.
An improv comedy show with a hip-hop twist. It was wild, messy, and a massive hit.
Lil Dick, you came on this show and you rocked the world. You can have all these points. I'ma steal your girl.
Nick took comedy and music, threw them in a blender, and served up something no one else was doing. People couldn't get enough. And then there was Drumline. Oh, you thought Nick was just a TV guy? Think again. In 2002, he stepped into the spotlight as Devon Miles, a kid with a drum and a dream. That movie wasn't just a success. It was the moment that turned Nick from a rising star into a certified household name. Everyone wanted a piece of the Nick Cannon magic. And honestly, who could blame him? While Nick Cannon was busy running the TV game and hustling like his life depended on it, his personal life was giving the tabloids more drama than a soap opera. At just 27, Nick dropped jaws everywhere when he wifed up the Mariah Carey.
Who am I? Yeah. Because, I got married in my 20s still, to the biggest star in the world.
Not just any superstar, y'all. This was Mariah, queen of high notes, Christmas anthems, and diamond-encrusted everything. Nick, a decade her junior, suddenly went from a rising star to rubbing elbows in a world of private jets, glitter, and that infamous butterfly ring.
This is the most amazing person in the world, and I dedicate my life to her daily, and I truly love her from the bottom of my heart. She is my rock, she's my foundation, and together this union is gonna last forever.
Their 2008 wedding, straight out of a fantasy, or maybe a rom-com with a wild twist. They had the vow renewals, the over-the-top PDA, and the fairy tale wedding with twins Moroccan and Monroe arriving in 2011. For a minute there, it seemed like Nick had scored the ultimate flex, marrying a legend while building his empire. But behind the diamond-studded curtain, things weren't all sparkles and champagne. Nick later spilled the tea about the reality of being Mr. Mariah Carey. Am I just Mariah's man?
I would lay up at night thinking like, is this who I am?
Yeah.
Am I Mariah's man?
Yeah.
Is that what my life is supposed to be? There's nothing wrong with it.
I understand it though. Like,
You know?
it's like,
and I got really comfortable in
Yeah.
it.
Let's be real. Mariah's star power had its own gravitational pull, and Nick often felt like he was spinning in orbit around her universe. He loved her, but being married to The Voice wasn't for the faint of heart.
I got really comfortable in it. She got islands, and I'm waking up at noon, and people bringing me steaks on a platter, and I'm like, this ain't.
You had to
this
be a
ain't the
different version
hustler.
of yourself.
Yeah,
Exactly.
this
like,
ain't the kid.
I can't go provide. I can't go hunt. That's who I am. I want to hunt. But
And then when you have children, the hierarchy of just your man shit is like, I'm carrying a purse, the diaper bag, you know, I'm standing on the corner, I'm like, wait, you know, like she rocking being all the alpha that she
by the way,
is.
she deserves it. By the way,
and she did. I believe she needs a dude like that.
Yeah.
I'm just not that dude.
By 2014, the cracks were showing, and the rumor mill went into overdrive. Word on the street, Mariah's diva tendencies were clashing hard with Nick's nonstop grind. The media had a field day speculating about their relationship dynamics. Was it her larger-than-life persona? His hustle that kept him away too much? A bit of both. Whatever the reason, Nick confirmed they'd been living apart for months before the official split. When they finally announced their divorce, Nick kept it cool in public, but his comments hinted at some serious baggage.
I always feel like when one person turns theirs on, the other has to turn theirs off. It got to a place where I wasn't able to step into that next realm of my existence by trying to work within her existence. And it wasn't no beef or none of that type of stuff. It was just like, as I began to figure out some more things as a man, she was doing her thing, and what I never wanted was there to be any competition because we had two beautiful children. So that idea was like, look, if I could be a better father outside of your bubble, then that's what I want to do because I'm here for my children. And no disrespect to your bubble and how y'all move and the system that you've created, but that's not conducive to my lifestyle and my beliefs. So therefore, I got to step outside. It was even ideas like, yo, I'll buy an apartment in this same building. I'll buy a house next door. But I can't abide by your rules when I have my own beliefs and my own system and my own rules, especially when I'm trying to be an example for my children. And that was as simple as that. Like it had nothing to do with no infidelity. It had nothing to do with any of the rumors and none of that. It was just like, I believe in different things. And what I'm not gonna do is to pretend like I'm rocking just because I love you. And then we both in a up situation 10, 15 years from now because I didn't step up and speak up as a man as I should.
Still, the post-divorce vibes have been surprisingly chill. Nick and Mariah mastered the art of co-parenting their twins, and every now and then, they'll pop up together, looking cordial enough to make you wonder. Nick's always quick to call Mariah a great mom and a love he'll never forget. But let's be real. Their whirlwind marriage was a masterclass in how fame, love, and egos can collide. It was glamorous, messy, and oh so entertaining, leaving Nick with both unforgettable memories and a lifetime of lessons.
She's so understanding and so evolved and lives in her own world. That's the thing, when someone has their own world, like you said, their own scope, their own bubble, and you got to be a participant in that.
Nick Cannon was not about to let a little thing like public scandal stop him. The man knows how to keep a show going. Whether it's hosting America's Got Talent.
Welcome.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well.
She has amazing teeth.
You're beautiful.
The Masked Singer.
I'm sorry, I'm just so scared to get too close to you. I don't want to get pregnant, so I'm gonna...
Or popping up in movies like Men in Black 2.
Why I have a dead Tricranoslov going through passport control.
That'd be my fault, sir.
Roll Bounce.
Y'all need something?
And Spike Lee's Chirac.
What it do?
Sup? You see him in the spotlight, acting, laughing, and living large, and you think nothing could touch him. But when it comes to Nick, there's always something brewing under the surface. And this time, it was a huge controversial project that had people talking. In true Nick fashion, he stepped into one of the most heated, touchy subjects in recent history, Dr. Sebi.
So I understood that the state were unprepared to defend itself. They were unprepared because in the past there was 2,781 cases that came before the Supreme Court and lost.
Yeah.
I won.
Yeah.
That's right, the legendary herbalist who had people swearing by his natural cures from everything from cancer to AIDS. But Dr. Sebi wasn't just some healing guru. His claims shook up the entire medical community. People loved him for his boldness, but some thought he was pushing dangerous ideas.
But then also, it's this legacy of this man, Dr. Sebi, that, our culture admires. And, there's many debates about his life and after his life and, the worlds that he operated in as herbalist and a holistic practitioner.
Then, when Dr. Sebi passed away under mysterious circumstances in 2016, rumors started flying about whether his death had something to do with outspoken views on Big Pharma. Enter Nipsey Hussle, who had been working on a documentary about Dr. Sebi's life and work before his tragic death in 2019.
In peace, Nip, they was playing him, and he right before we came on, he said they killed Dr. Sebi. He was teaching how.
Yeah.
So he was working on a documentary for Dr. Sebi. Obviously, he wasn't able to complete that. You picked up the baton for that?
Absolutely, and it's funny because we had no idea that the pandemic was going to happen in the midst of it.
Nipsey had started the project with all the passion in the world, but he couldn't finish it. And who else to pick up the baton but Nick Cannon? Yep, that's right. Nick swooped in, determined to continue Nipsey's mission and make sure the world knew about Dr. Sebi's healing ways.
All right, so we're here at TASO, the AIDS support organization in Uganda. Try to get some answers.
But this wasn't just any documentary. This was a movement. Nick didn't just reach out to Dr. Sebi's family. He went straight to Nipsey's people too, ensuring the vision stayed true to both their legacies. Nick wasn't just producing a film, he was starting a revolution, or at least that's how he spun it.
Love and respect to both Nip's family as well as Dr. Sebi's family, who have all been extremely helpful and cooperative in this collaborative effort and wanting to do it right. And that's the thing, it's like we taking our time because we don't want to mess it up. It's precious information of one, it's something that I know that my brother Nip wanted to put forth.
Of course, not everyone was buying it. The project, which is still yet to be released, has faced tons of skepticism. With the weight of Dr. Sebi's controversial legacy and the shadow of Nipsey's untimely passing, people couldn't help but question Nick's involvement. Was he really in it for the cause? Or was this just another flashy way to stay relevant? Regardless, Nick pushed forward, sharing behind-the-scenes glimpses of the documentary on social media and insisting this wasn't just another project. It was about starting a real conversation about empowerment in marginalized communities. As of now, the documentary is still a work in progress, but one thing's for sure, Nick Cannon's involvement has made sure that both Dr. Sebi and Nipsey's name are still causing buzz. Whether it's good or bad, Nick's making sure that everyone keeps talking. Nick's personal life? Oh, it's a whole soap opera of its own. The man is not just a star. He's building a family empire. 12 kids, 6 different women. Yep, you heard that right.
The fam is good, like all the babies and stuff.
The whole gang, my 12 constellations, they all rocking.
And no, he's not stopping anytime soon. Nick has said that fatherhood is his life's purpose. But let's be real. The critics are side-eyeing him, wondering how long he can juggle all these kids with all these different women. Is there even a limit to this man's baby-making ability? Some think he's doing too much, but Nick, he's just getting started. But then, in a twist no one saw coming, 2021 hit Nick with the heartbreak that shook everyone. His 5-month-old son, Zen, tragically passed away from a brain tumor. It was a blow that left Nick open and vulnerable in ways fans rarely see. He didn't shy away from sharing his grief, calling it one of the hardest things he's ever faced.
We found out that he had another condition. And ultimately, if anybody knows how cancers work, it was cancer in the brain. Holding my son for the last time. But it was a beautiful setting to spend that whole day. It was interesting because even as I was holding him, I was still preparing my day as it normally went. To come back and come here and still I didn't know what it was gonna be, but even by the time I got in the car and was headed to the airport, I had to turn around.
Losing a child is something no parent should go through, and Nick's raw honesty about his pain made headlines for all the right reasons. The man might be a media magnet, but that was one moment where the cameras weren't enough to capture the depth of his sorrow.
I really wanted to, take him to the doctor to get the breathing and the sinus things checked out. So we thought it would be, we went in just to check his sinuses, and they actually said his sinuses were pretty cool. But then by the time we found out that he had another condition, and I think it was called, if I'm not mistaken, but it was like where it was fluid that was building up in his head, and that was the cause of his head was starting to get big, and ultimately, if anybody knows how cancers were, it was cancer in the brain. And usually on Sundays, kind of handle everything I had to handle with the family, and then, but I wanted to make sure that, I had allowed the sun to rise and, kind of hold my son. Having the last, holding my son for the last time and even to spend that whole day, it was interesting because even as I was holding him, I was still preparing my day as it normally went. I really want to say I'm so grateful to my entire family for coming together during this time.
Health challenges are another part of Nick's story. In 2012, he was diagnosed with lupus nephritis after suffering from kidney failure. Add to that his public revelation that he's been diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, and it's clear Nick's life is as complex as it is public. Despite the ups and downs, Nick has built a financial empire with an estimated net worth of $20 million.
We have a tour that makes millions, now even turning into a cruise line, the wild and wet. Like, we have restaurants that are being franchised, all over the country. We just expanded our South Beach location on Ocean Drive in Miami.
He's juggled multiple careers as a comedian, actor, producer, and businessman. He runs Incredible Entertainment, his multimedia company, and even graduated from Howard University, proving there's more to him than just headline-grabbing antics. Love him or hate him, Nick Cannon remains a cultural force. From his groundbreaking work on Wildin' Out to his hosting gigs and undeniable hustle, he's carved out a unique and, at times, controversial space in entertainment. One thing's for sure, Nick Cannon will always keep us talking. Nick couldn't stop singing her praises, calling her his dream girl and showering her with public declarations of love.
This is the most amazing person in the world, and I dedicate my life to her daily, and I truly love her from the bottom of my heart. She is my rock, she's my foundation, and together this union is gonna last forever.